Welcome back to the Denver Pioneers Coaches Show, presented by Johnson Financial from your hometown Toyota Store studio. In this segment, we're joined by Jack and Sheila Weinberg, head men's soccer coach Jamie Franks. Jamie, how you doing today?
Hey, Nico, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Columbus Crew won MLS, so I'm in a good mood. Let's visit back to the LIU game in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and we'll start there. You go behind for the first time in what seemed like 2 months, and your team responds with goals from Bryce Willoughby and Tyler Schomer 3 minutes apart. Just kind of talk about that match from your perspective and what you remember most about it.
Yeah, I thought we played quite well, throughout the whole match. I just don't think we were dangerous enough in the first half, and I don't think we had the urgency that's needed in knockout football matches. We felt like to find ourselves down 1-0 on their first or second shot of the game. I was like, oh my goodness, is it going to be one of these silly soccer games where you're on the wrong side of it? And was just super proud of the group of the leaders that they found a higher level. And after they scored the goal, just the intent of the players, the purpose of the players, you had a good feeling that we were going to win the game. And so goals, lightning strike goals, back to back within 3-4 minutes of each other, does the job. And I was just super proud of a really young team, playing in an NCAA tournament, some of those guys for the first time, just that they showed up and that they were able to kind of express themselves and really stand up in the face of adversity. Because, I thought LIU was good. They were super good at what they did. They had a bunch of good players and they were really bought in, really well coached team. So, really excited to get that result at home. And it was just a great day to be a Pioneer.
Bryce Willoughby, he's one of those guys that's playing his first NCAA tournament game. He gets the equalizer for you guys in the 80th minute. Talk about his season. You look back, he just played a really key role. OJ obviously off to a great start in August and September, and then Bryce really filled the void there to get you some big goals in summer league play.
Yeah, he's a difference maker, and he's different than what we have in the sense of his skill set, and I think it's his mentality that makes him different. I remember giving him some of his first minutes early in the season, and he came off. We subbed him off, and he gives me a big hug and just says, "Thanks for the opportunity." Most players that you take off are not happy. I was never happy when I got taken off as a player, so I can understand that emotion, but he just has an attitude of gratitude, and because of that, he rarely misses days. When his focus is on, he's extremely important and valuable to the team.
Yeah, so he gets the goal, and then it kind of feels like it's just a matter of time before you get the second because the team was dominating play so much at that point, and it comes from Tyler Schomer, who scores his first goal of the season. Talk about from your perspective, especially for a forward, because you guys are usually playing with one or two up top. How important that is for Tyler to keep working and keep working throughout the course of the year. He gets a lot of appearances early in his freshman year, and then it pays off in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean he's our number 9 for a reason. We really believe that he's the program's number 9 and he's the future of the program. And so forwards, they've got some of the toughest job. You have to have a short memory. It's more about your processes and your habits. Always running to the front stick, always following up plays. Always trying to be a fox in the box, a goal, a poacher. And I just thought he got unlucky kind of to start the season, and it would be different. Pro guys have 9-10 months kind of for a campaign, and Tyler also hits the post in the SMU game, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a second. But my guess is if we kept playing and we had another 2 or 3 months, that Tyler Schomer was really going to start to heat up, and I think what I'm most proud about, and I think what his teammates respect him for, is that like he found adversity this season. His balance of being a student athlete, his balance of one time being a top forward and then having to share minutes coming off the bench. That stuff's tough, and not many people can have the resiliency and the focus to keep going. And so It's just a great example of like being ready when your number's called, you know, for us moving forward, you know, he's going to be a really important piece to this whole thing. And so, what a better time to get your first collegiate goal, a game winner in the NCAA tournament. So, great moment for him.
Yeah, for sure. You teased the SMU game a little bit earlier, and you want to talk about silly soccer games. Hit the post 4 times, including Tyler Somers, including 3 in the last 10 minutes too. It's never fun to get knocked out in November, but just in a game like that, what was the I guess kind of response from the guys immediately after the match?
Anger. You know, the last time that we got bounced out by SMU, we went on to win 20 games straight and went to a college cup. My wife reminded me of that immediately after the game. Feeling of like you got wronged, and then ultimately feeling of like we're there and like we're good enough. And I think everybody always asks like, why do we go and play all these tough games on the road, and you know, why do we put ourselves you know, when we first started 20-1 or 15-1, and you know, but that just doesn't prepare you for the NCAA tournament. You know, you'd rather have some setbacks and adversity along the way to kind of find out who you are, and you know, it's just a little bit unlucky, you know, in that game. I was disappointed with the way that we started, you know, if I'm being truthful. You know, I think one of the critiques of myself and the coaching staff was, you know, we were only able to really find our level of urgency when we were down in matches. And, you know, that's disappointing because I think for us to be at our best, for our brand, for our fighting football, you know, that mentality, it's a proactiveness. There's a proactiveness in the way that we press. There's a proactiveness in our possession. There's a lot of purpose. And I thought that was lacking, you know. Listen, anytime that you play in front of that many fans, it's loud, the weather was poor. You know, with so many freshmen and sophomores, you know, in some of their first NCAA, tournament experience, there might be nerves. But you know, for us as a coaching staff, I thought we were just disappointed in ourselves that we couldn't find that level. You know, ourselves, we had to make sure, you know, it was manufactured by being down a goal. So, you know, if I'm being totally honest, like people are angry and people are not happy, and I think any good athlete kind of remember some of their downtimes more than, you know, the highs. There's highs and lows in the game, and if there hasn't been, then you haven't been in the game long enough. You know, nobody stays on any high, and you know, nobody stays in any low, and so for us, you know, really internally looking at ourselves and thinking, okay, like what are the things that we need to address? What are the things that we need to get better at? And, you know, what are these margins that we need to win? If you win that game, do you think the same? Maybe, maybe not. But for us, it's like, you know, there's a fire in our belly to come back. And, you know, we were good enough to be a Sweet 16 team this year. And it's just disappointing that we didn't get there. So a lot of pissed off people, a lot of angry people. And you know, when you go back in the facilities and you see your whole team lifting and you see your whole team, you know, right back at it the next week, there is a sense of like pride. There's a sense of like, wow, these guys are really about this. There's a high level of intrinsic motivation from the team to succeed. And so the journey for next season starts now. We're not going to waste any time, and this will undoubtedly be the highest standards we've ever had from top to bottom. This is the best team we'll ever bring back. But the standards and they need to increase. The values of the program need to be on display every day. And like what I told the guys is it's going to be a really tough winter, and this will be the toughest winter of your life. And you know, I thought that the guys were understanding of that, and the guys were meeting, you know, their actions are meeting their ambition. And so um, we're really tired of losing in that round, and we're going to do something about it next year.
Yeah, 3 years in a row that you get to the second round, but 3 years in a row, like you mentioned, that you lose in that round. So building towards that for next year. And we've talked about the injured guys a lot, and obviously I know that you guys don't like to use it as an excuse, but to almost bring 4 players back that didn't have a key role in this year because of injury, it's almost like getting another boost to a recruiting class a little bit, but you know that they're proven players. Is that kind of the attitude that you guys are taking about, hey, we like we're adding these pieces back in and we already know what we have, and you're bringing so much back that, yeah, you're getting more freshmen in, but you're kind of bringing back the team that you already know that you have, and you can build from there instead of starting from the beginning again.
Yeah, I don't know any recruiting class where you're going to bring in three captains. So adding your three captains back into the team is incredible. And I've said this before. I think a lot of people wanted to talk about who we were missing this year, and rightfully so. But ultimately, the story ended up being who stepped up, and the
For
guys
sure.
have like Ian Smith and Baoli to be like the emotional leaders, and then for Sam Bassett and OJ to like kind of set the tone. You just had so many players step up, and Dylan Aku, his sophomore season, to play at the level he did, to have Jake Smith, Semmelsberger, Dom, those guys to play in the midfield and dominate the way that we did. Yeah, we've lost in 3 second-round games. 3 years ago we lost on the 109th minute in a phantom PK call, which I still am baffled by, but that's
You
how
can
that's
watch
how
it
the
100
game
times and
goes.
you'll still be baffled by it.
And then Clemson goes on and wins the national championship, and then the next year, you go to Duke and you play fantastic. You outshoot like the number one team in the country who's been number one most of the season. You outshoot them 14-5, and you have tons of the ball and you have tons of, but you're down 0-2 on a missed penalty kick call, for and against, and so and then the SMU game to give up the goals that we did. They're not great goals to give up, and normally we're very sure of ourselves in the back, and that's football. And I think for us, this like motto of like leave no doubt. David Carl, hockey coach at DU, he gave me a book a long time ago, Leave No Doubt, and it's like a credence to like your processes and making sure that every day that we are trying to get better. And I think that's where we're at. It's like we know that we're good enough to be standing in the Final Four. We know that's the quality, and that's the but we need to create our own luck, and we need to make sure that in these games that there is no lull, and that we so really excited to bring back all those guys. Obviously, you have two guys joining us in January, Grant Lund and Keegan Kelly, who are studs. Those guys are incredible players. Keegan is in with the U23, New Zealand Olympic team, and then Grant Lund was best 11. On a non-MLS academy team. His team lost in the LA Galaxy in the finals for Real Colorado. So to have those guys come in January, there's already new blood in the team, and there's already higher competition. And ultimately, I think our job as a staff is to bring in really good people who challenge each other. And, the minutes are going to become harder. So all the guys that played last year, knowing that 4 guys that are incredible players come back into the lineup, that first practice in January is going to be intense because, guys know that you're going to have to earn your jersey. And when you have internal competition every day and you have guys constantly looking over their shoulder, what habits they're doing, all on and off the field, and keeping that excellence, those standards of excellence really high, that's when real development happens. And so that's what we're most excited about. Like I said, a year that I think a lot of people would, kind of tag as like, oh, we miss these players. I thought it was quite the opposite. I was like, man, look at all these young guys stepping up in leadership roles and really taking ownership of the team.
Yeah, 100%. Final point for you, Sam Bassett this week named a second team All-American, a well-deserved honor for his career highs, both in goals and assists. And like you mentioned, stepping up in those key moments with the key players that were out. Just kind of talk about his season and the things that you take away from his junior campaign.
Wow, when he lost his finger in the Kansas City match, and it was like potential season-ending injury for him, and he was like trying to convince us to let him play without a finger. That kind of epitomizes where his mentality was at. he sets the tone for our team because he's so passionate and so committed to the sport. You want to talk about, hey, being an All-American, these are the behaviors that you need to exemplify. Man, he does those. First in the locker room, the way he takes care of his body, how fit he is, just his passion for the game, I think, separates him from everybody else. And just really proud of him because I felt over the kind of the past 24 months, where he's grown the most is the areas that a lot of people I think used to criticize him in. His balance, his power, his ability to get his shot off, his ability to press, his ability to tackle. These are things that are not easy to work at as a player, and these are things that are very hard as a player to hear criticism of yourself. And kudos to the young man because he took it on the chin and just continues to get better. And the Rapids have a really, really good player coming up in the pipeline, and I'm just really excited, for his senior season and for him to really kind of express himself. Because I did think there was an 8 or 9 game little trend there after his finger, where it was tough. It was the results. We were winning games, but our offense wasn't clicking in the right fashion. And so like there's just a lot of room to grow for him, and I'm just really excited because I know that he sees that space and where he needs to still grow, and I know that he's not scared to be challenged. He's not scared to grow in those areas. So really, really happy for him because I thought in a year that he committed so much to the team and so much unselfishness into like being a better leader and not worried about his stats, to turn around and to be an All-American is pretty special.
The third different All-American in the program's history. Jamie, thanks for joining us this week on the Coaches Show. Again, presented by Johnson Financial from your hometown Toyota Store studio. And Jamie, we'll talk to you this spring.
Thanks, Nico.